Hello there and welcome to the weekend edition of News Express, exclusively brought to you by Business AM, Nigeria's fastest growing financial and business newspaper. Of course, a lot has gone on within the week, a lot of developing stories this week, and we'll be having Philip Isapa join in for conversations to all of that and what to expect this coming week. Hello, Mr. Philip. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me.
All right, so for one thing, the bulls retained their grip in the markets up until today, which, is an exciting news to close the week. And of course, we're also seeing a rise in forex turnover by about 9.6%. Of course, that's a reaction to the new CBN guideline barring mobile money operators and also payment service providers from accepting diaspora remittances. But that aside, all that information and, trending stories aside, bring us up to speed with developing stories on Business AM this week. And of course, what we should expect this coming week.
Yeah, thank you. It's been a wonderful week. We on the economic side, you will recall that for months and months that the borders were closed, and only yesterday or 2 days ago there was the announcement that the borders at four border points were going to be reopened, and this has sent some excitement through the different sectors of the economy, especially those who had been clamoring for the reopening of the borders, saying that it hadn't made any sense whatsoever. So that's something to look at, because sometimes sentiment when people make comments over certain policy actions, sentiment sometimes overwhelms the substance of what those policies actually represent. So we want to look at what this border reopening actually means, for manufacturing, sector, and then we're also looking at it from the agricultural. What we found is that there's a lot of trading, going on between these neighboring countries and Nigeria, especially in the area of food produce and agricultural produce, going across the borders, So a lot of, from the dealers we're getting, a lot of people involved there, especially smallholder farmers who are involved in agriculture and those who are involved in agricultural trade, are jubilating, and they're telling us that this will bode well for them, But I want us to go back to manufacturing. Recall that while the borders were closed, we did hear that two big manufacturers did get some leeway, to export cement. In this case, we're talking about Dangote and Pua, who had some concessions allowed them, to export some limited quantity of their product. But if you ask, manufacturing sector, especially MAN, NASIMA, and the organized private sector trade groups involved in manufacturing, did complain quite loudly. You will recall that the LTCI Director General, Modu Yusuf, was one of those who condemned the border closure and did not see any sense in it.
Yes.
But it is important to actually find out what really are the measures. How is it going to aid manufacturing? Manufacturing is already constrained, by a lot of structural economic imbalances. You have power sector, power inefficiencies that affect the manufacturing sector. You have other infrastructural facilities that affect them, which sometimes reduce the ability to produce, But we want to see how this reopening of the borders, what it will mean for manufacturing. So we're talking to quite a good number of people in the organized private sector, particularly those in manufacturing, to see what they will say, But it's also important to look at the border reopening from the agricultural point of view.
Okay.
If you go to the market, and you were going to buy some agricultural produce, for instance, tomato, and I think that I've been to the market doing some kind of research and trying to get oranges, and I was told these are from Cotonou,
Deep.
From Cotonou. That's why they're a bit more expensive, So there is some good trade going on. It's not just about the rice that we hear about. It's not just about the smuggled products of rice, maybe cars and the rest that will affect those activities. But on a broader note too, it's important also to look at how this affects the general economy. The economy is in recession at the moment, and given an economy in recession, what are economists saying, in terms of how this will affect the general mood of the Nigerian economy. When the borders were closed, there was a lot said about the impact this has or had on the Nigerian economy generally. People complaining from different aisles. So what we need to look at is, does this have any impact, or will this have any impact on the economy that is currently in recession? How much positive will it, if the signals are positive, how much of that positive is going to reflect on the economy that is in recession? Above all is how much, what's the level, or what's the quantum, of impact that this will have on the economy. How much actually goes on?
Yes.
If we say the borders are carry out, how much more export can BUA carry out? How much more export can PZ carry out? How much more export can Indomie, I think the Indomie makers, carry out? So there are quite a whole lot of people who are looking forward to this, who had complained in the past. So we need to know how much this will impact on the economy as a whole. So there's quite a lot to unpack with regards to the reopening of the borders. But also, we tend to look at some things that happen. Our approach is to look at what happens globally and then locally, to try to put the pieces together. One report came out during the week, and it was the trade report by Afrexim Bank. And if you followed Afrexim Bank, you'll see that they are the one of the main pushers of this African Free Trade Area Agreement. And they came up with a report which, interestingly, we have dissected. During the week, we've been looking at this report, and there's something which we'll look at for the coming week, how this report brought out some particular issues to do with the benefits to be derived, or those areas within Africa that would derive benefits, from in terms of trade when the African Free Trade Area Agreement gets into gear in January. So I think there's quite a lot because Africa does not trade. I mean, African countries don't trade amongst themselves so well, and over time, it appears to have been shooting themselves in the foot, and that has had tremendous effect, because in a world where you have trade running into trillions, and you have Africa participating in the single digits and very small single digits in terms of percentage, take on global trade. You find that it is important to begin to look at these issues in a broader way, because I think countries need to look at trade from the benefits that they can derive, and they must structure the economies in such a way that they benefit from trade maximally. Nigeria should benefit from trade. So the volume. South Africa, for instance, is or Southern African country. We look at what the developments in the economy.
Right.
You can also. There are other reports. There's one report on risk. On Risk Alliance, the global insurance firm, they have a subsidiary in Nigeria, so they came up with a report, and that report talks about the risk that will some risk to do with directors and officers of corporates, how much risk they will represent as a result of the global pandemic. So that's something also to look forward to. And for companies, the boards of companies will need to look at that in terms of how the risk that directors and their officers pose, or represent in terms of insurance coverage and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And Swiss Re also has a report, a global report on disasters. Of course, we don't tend to capture a lot of what you call natural man-made disasters. Natural disasters mostly, and that's because we probably don't have a lot of them. If you have places like in North America or in Australia where you have fires, bush fires, and you have tornadoes and storms, insurance does play a great role, in helping to cushion the effect that natural man-made disasters bring about. But crucially is the fact that this report does talk about that losses running into $83 billion in 2020 alone, and it says it's the costliest since 1970. So this report is it comes as climate change worsens situation. The climate change debate has been going on for some time. For not some time, a very long time, and you will find that so that's something else we are looking at. Obviously you have the different also other things that, of course, the markets. We'll look at the roundup of the markets. In this case, what's called we'll look at the capital markets, the equities. That is the equities market. We'll look at the money markets, fixed income markets, treasury bills, activities, and forex, as well as bonds. You did see the central bank come up with a good number of measures, especially the one on MT was a money transfers. The one that it came up on money transfers. That's something that has I think it has given some confidence to the currency. Because I guess a lot of things were going on in that regard, in that area. The what's it called? The Bureau de Change Association, APCON, Association of Bureau de Change Operators of Nigeria, had been raising some issues around the international money transfer organizations, in terms of some untoward things that were going on in that level of the market, and
that's correct.
That contributing to the result from that, especially with regards to the currency and how the currency has behaved so far this week.
It is obviously going to be a fully packed, very interesting and informative section for next week on Business AM, Mr. Philip.
Yes, it will be. But I keep saying to politicians, there are two sides to politics. One is economics, the other is the politics of getting into office. When you get into office, you're given a time frame to be in office. So we say it's 4 years in this part of the world, right? So in those 4 years, a lot of the focus will have to be economics. You need to slow down on playing politics, except close to election time. But economics deals with what you call it's a protection of lives and property. There's a lot of economics involved in all of that. So if you provide jobs, there probably would not be a lot of criminal activities. If the economy is buoyant, everybody's happy. There will be less restiveness. So there must be a great deal of focus on economic activities. How to boost the economy. How to make the economy active.
True.
And because if the economy isn't active, if the economy is not boosted, then you have a whole lot of challenges. Those political office holders, once they've won the elections, they must think about how the welfare of the people, which is sustained by a booming economy, that creates and produces jobs, for people, and helps the pockets of the people to be buoyant.
That's true. There is indeed a very thin line between economics and politics. Thank you so much, Mr. Philip Isapa, for doing this with me. We are going to be having you again on Monday for the Week Starter edition. Do have a great weekend.
Thank you very much.
And it's a wrap on the News Express today. Mr. Philip is the publisher, Business AM, Nigeria's fastest growing financial and business newspaper. We'll do this again on Monday. Have a wonderful day.